Good day, Visibution TV viewers. I'm Slan Magomani. Today I'm with Victor Seshoka. Victor Seshoka is coming again in our live TV show, where last time he was telling us how to manage time. He gave us the specifics on how to use time to make sure that you grow your business, you grow your career, you grow anything that you want to do in your life. Now, recently you have seen that we've been focusing more on businesses and how to grow business, how to start a business. Like we're trying by all means to really educate and remind people on how they can prosper in their business. Victor Seshoka, welcome to our show. How are you?
I'm very well, and thank you for having me today.
Yes.
It's quite an honor for me to be here.
Thank you very much. Now, Victor, last time I did not give you the opportunity to introduce yourself. Can you speak to our viewers and tell them who you are?
My name is Victor Seshoka, as he has already introduced me. I'm the founder and chief executive officer of Halalo Education Foundation. Okay. I'm the director of Supulwani Investments. There's a business aspect of my company that deals with petroleum, that deals with printing, that deals with publishing, and other businesses such as logistics. That's what I'm busy with on my spare time. And I am a graduate with a master's degree in business leadership and management. And I've studied quite a lot of things in my career, and I'm here today just to give just basic aspects of business.
Okay. Now you mentioned a lot of the companies that you own. Now, how did you start? Like, if someone wants to start a business now, which advice can you give them?
The first thing I'll say is that somebody must have passion for the kind of business they want to do, and understand also that in business you don't just wake up and say I want to do business. You need to understand that you need to register your business. You need to make sure that you register with CIPC. You need to make sure that you've got your tax exemption or maybe tax clearance. You need to make sure that you've got your banking in order. You need to make sure that your all aspect of registration of business is intact. And also identify a niche market, a market, because as an entrepreneur, you need to identify a market that you can thrive in. Some want to start big instead of starting small. I always say to people, start with a cash business, something that can generate income or revenue easier or maybe more faster. Basically, you can sell things, and I always say to people, there are other aspects of business that you can start with to generate some form of income. You can go into what we call network marketing business. That can actually help you to be able to sell, because there is more about selling. Because in business, what is critical is more about profit more than any other things. Even though some people in the later stage, they want to be philanthropists, but in the beginning, it's all about profit, and more profit. So I'll encourage people to start, even though you've got a side hustle, you are working, you can start, some of us are good in baking, you can start baking your scones and selling them. Some can do gardening, some can do any other form of business. Sometimes I always want to revert back to the Bible. It says, whatever your hands finds to do, do it with all your might. So you need to make sure that you utilize your hands in most instances.
Oh. I'll go into details about your business, but now the people that I've been interviewing recently, I've asked them a question about the government funding, because we hear that there is like some departments, the government departments that are responsible in funding, especially the small businesses. Now, and these people have been saying that no, they've not seen any government involvement in funding. What is your take on that?
One thing that I can say is that there is quite a lot of government and entities that funds. Your CEDA is one of them. Your small enterprise development at CIPC is one of them. And your NYDA for young people between the ages of 18 to 35 is one of them. The only thing that most people are running away from is that they run away from compliance. So you need to get all your documents in check. Make sure that you've got all the relevant documents that will be required. And most of them is just a walk in. Some you can even make a call. You can go online and check them. But you can just walk in there and ask for assistance. Like if you want something like CEDA is there in the Fed Shop building, the corner of Pretorius and Pretorius and Lillian Ngoyi, the former Van der Walt, where you can go to the 11th floor there and say, I want help. They'll be able to help you. We've got Gauteng Entrepreneur Propeller. It's one of them that can actually assist. So the issue is that people must learn to be efficient. The majority of our people, they want things to come to where they are. They're not willing to go out there and seek for assistance. So it's for your responsibility to go out there. We've got access to Wi-Fi, and some of our townships around Gauteng, especially in Swami, they've got access to free Wi-Fi. So you can't be complaining and say, I don't have information. The issue is that it's other ignorance, which is critical to why people are not accessing these funds.
Wow, nice. And you know, most people, even my friends, they have like nice business ideas. So how do you advise them to make those ideas to be more practical?
One thing that I can tell you is that there are millions and millions of ideas daily that people will come and tell you, I see myself doing that. But the critical thing is that every beginner is a winner. But if you begin, then you must get that word. Every beginner will be a winner only if you begin. But a lot of people have got great ideas, and they've got millions and billions of ideas that they can have, but they are lacking in beginning. They need to start. Getting something done is an accomplishment, but doing something well is an achievement. So the important thing is for them to start. It does not matter whether you start with an egg or with 6 eggs, or maybe with a tray of eggs you want to venture into poultry. You can start with selling 1 tray of eggs. Today you get your 50 rand, tomorrow you go and you have got another tray. You do that. You know, in my business I sell water, I sell water, I sell eggs. It's a business that is a cash business. Apart from the fact that I'm into printing, apart from the fact that I'm into editing services and publishing, and also recently just ventured into petroleum. I have to have some form of business that keeps for you to be able to have enough fuel to travel around to do all those things. You need to have those things. So the important thing is to start. That's critical. We need to start something from scratch and just say, I've started. Then help will find you on the way.
Nice. I don't want to be found as if I'm racist, but I've heard so many comments that the government does not, especially when it comes to tenders, they are more focusing on the white businesses that are trusted. So is it still the issue of compliance, or really there's still a gap in addressing those issues?
One thing that I can tell you in simple way is that it's not much about preference of white business, big companies or stuff. It's an issue that has to do with compliance, and issue that has to do with, in most cases, let me give you a practical example. If you give a black man, maybe for example 5 million, you give a white man 5 million, and you monitor how they do in business. Most of us, even though we love business, some of our people love cutting corners. I'm not saying in the white side it's not there, it's there, but in most of us we tend to forget the critical things. When somebody's given a big project, we tend to want to look opulent. We want to go for opulency. We want to look the part. We want to drive big cars without even finish the project. Instead of us focusing much on project, and some of these things might actually come back to bite us. We've got a lot of examples that we can show where people put in Zanin and went and put shacks. And they say they costed so much millions. And the community said no. How do you then take people back to where they were not supposed to be? And those are kind of things that we need. Some of the quality of the roads that are made by our brothers, some of them are appalling. You can look at a road if you're driving to the side of Bungeni, that side from your R81 and you're going to via the Bungeni side. The roads that side are not as good as they're supposed to be. And we look at those contracts. Who are doing those contracts? Our people. So we need to look at those kind of things to say, are we given quality in most of the things? We are not saying preference should be given to a certain space, but we are saying give people the business if they are able to deliver the services.
Wow. I don't want to politicize this interview, but I've got so many questions, that relates to being black, being white, and doing business. Because sometimes you find out that there will be an old black woman outside a certain known white-owned shop, and then you find that he's selling bananas, and even in that shop, they also sell bananas, and then our people will pass or will even negotiate for prices outside, but when they go inside the shop, they don't think. So how do you, like, what is the mentality behind that?
I always say to people, it's all about a mindset. It's what we call brand positioning. You know, if I can shock you by saying most of the content that you buy in Woolworth, Pick and Pay, ShopRite, and everywhere might be the same content. Milk. There is no special cow that produces milk, but brand positioning. Woolworth has positioned their brand in such a way that you will think that their milk is better than Pick and Pay. Their milk is better than any other shop, Checkers or so. It's brand positioning. And also, if as black people we can learn to buy black, we can learn to support. I always say to people, I've got few items. I've got sneakers that I bought from Drip. I've got sneakers that I bought from you know, your Batu and all those things. We need to make sure that whatever a black person sells, but also we're not going to just buy for the sake of buying. We need to buy quality. We need to buy things that are market related. Because sometimes you find that somebody wants to sell you something that you see that this one is not market related. But just because you're black, I must support you. I always say to people, put your prices so that people can be able to support you. I always argue for that, to say in business, let's not only look at making big profits, but let's look at making profit while making an impact. We're looking at sustainability part of the business, not for you to come and be a 1 week wonder and from there you dissipate or you disappear. So we need to look at those kind of things. But I'm advocating for us to buy black, to support black businesses. But in so doing, black businesses must also give us the quality that these other races are giving us, so that we are able to say, no, we can flock and go buy Drip, all of us. And I've seen Drip has now opened over 12 stores in the country. It's quite interesting. We see Batu is everywhere. So we need to make sure that we conscientize people about that. There's a guy named Tsepo who has designed a gym called Tsepo. We support that. There's one guy in Midrand that has made underwears for men called Titan. We must support those kind of things. But the quality of those products are critical. Oh, wow.
Now let me go to your businesses, and you mentioned that you are on designing, you know, printing and publishing, you know, and I've been having so many people asking me where to find those services. What exactly are you doing in this business, and how can people find you?
We focusing much on publishing, which is publishing of books. We also deal with magazines. We also deal with thesis and all those things. Since, you know, we offer those services, we're also editing services. And for me, it's actually looking at having more black people writing their story and at a minimal price. And what we do, we give you 100% ownership of your work. You only pay for our services, but from there you own your rights. Because most traditional publishing houses, what they did was to publish our people's books. From there, they'll give them 80-20, where the big business enjoy 80% of the profit, then you get 20. That's why we've seen a lot of our authors, a lot of musicians and artists dying as paupers. But yet somebody is raking in millions, but because they don't own copyright. So you can look at recently, I've read somewhere where it says Black Coffee has bought the copyright of the steamer. So once you own the copyright, you own the means of production. But our people need to be encouraged to be able to own their rights. So with us, when we publish you own 100%. You just pay for our services. From there, you own 100% of your work.
Wow, nice. I love that what Victor has said, that is encouraging. Mostly when you do business, it's not only about making profit, but it's also making an impact. And now he's saying that the impact that he wants to see, he wants to see more black people writing, you know, publishing their stories, publishing their ideas, publishing anything that they are thinking of. And I've been approached by so many young people asking me about the publishing companies, and then when we check prices, you find that they're very high. Even the rights, like you are not enjoying the rights of being the owner of your work. But now Victor says no. In this company, you can publish and you can have like 100% ownership of your work. The only thing is just to pay for the services that they provided you with. And now I think visible change. That's why we are visible change. We are exposing the things that are hidden. You know, the fortunes that you were supposed to enjoy, not only specific people. So please continue to subscribe in our channel and continue to find good things in this channel. Now, Victor, I like you also mentioned that you also in petroleum, and so what are the challenges that you can that one can expect when they want to venture into business or when they are already in business?
There is one of the things that I always say to people is that in life, cutting corners is not good. I always say to people, if you cut corners, it will cut your life short. And critically is compliance. For a petroleum business, for example, you need to apply for the license. And you need to have that license so that you can be regulated by the energy department to make sure that even though the process is a bit tedious, but it's doable. Just that lack of knowledge, that's why even the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And the reason why I'm saying that is that it will cost you 25,000 to get that license if you're going to go through a third party. But you'll pay plus minus 4,000 or 5,000 if you do it yourself. So the problem is most of our people are not interested in doing DIY. Do it yourself. So I did it myself, and I ended up making sure that I gather whatever is needed, and I submitted that was needed, and I paid for the advertisement on newspaper, which is around 2.9, and I paid for the issuing, which is around 1,000 or so. So plus minus 4,000, 5,000. While I was done to get my license. So we need people who are going to be passionate about what they want, go after what you want. I always say to people, the challenge is if you don't do it yourself, who do you expect them to do for you? And sometimes I always say, you're going to pay for what you don't know, but we get paid for what we know. So knowledge has got those dimensions. Whenever, if you don't, ignorance is very costly. And that's one of the things that I always tell people, that if you're ignorant, you'll pay a heavy price.
Okay, our Visible TV viewers, Victor is also in I don't know, I can say charity programs. Yes. I've seen on if you follow him on Facebook, you realize that every time when he's birthdaying, he asks for people to donate, school shoes, and from there he'll go and distribute these shoes to poor schools. Now, Victor, how has that been, and what are the challenges, what are the prospects, everything?
For me, I've started my foundation in 2012, and it's been over 8 years now, almost 8 years. And I managed to have impacted over 20,000 learners across the country. And for me, it's more passion than anything. And because I believe that if you manage to have access to a little resource that you have, still think about going back and giving back to where you come from. Because I believe that each one of us are the result of the communities, the results of the village that raised us. So when I looked at my background, I thought, let me go back and give back to the rural learners, because everybody else is giving things, but they target township people who have got access to resources, but rural learners don't have access to resources. And that's when I started the foundation, and so far it has been going very well, even though that most of the time I was funding it from my pocket. But currently I'm busy fundraising because we are in the verge of building libraries in rural areas. We want to have technological libraries that can compete with your township schools, with your province that are doing very well in the village, so that our village learners can have access to internet and have access to Wi-Fi, that they can have access to making sure that they're able to research. So right now I'm on a program called Beg a Buddy, a program whereby we're trying to raise at least about 2 million or so, because we want to build at least the first maybe 2 libraries that we can have in villages that they can have access, everyone can have access to, so that they can be able to study. Because in most cases, our children in the rural areas don't have access to libraries where they can go and spend. We want to do a 24-hour library, but they can study for the whole night, and that's what we are currently pursuing.
I see a lot of social impact here. Now, I've seen that your wife is doing very well in education, and also that you are also doing very well in education. I know that you're holding a lot of qualifications, and recently I've seen you with people in the forefront of education, especially in Gauteng. I've seen you attending and also presenting in seminars, teachers seminars and everything. Then how are you getting involved in education?
Since I'm passionate about education, because I believe that you know, once the mind of a man is stretched, it cannot go back to its original position. The reason why I'm saying that is that I know that education is the only key that can actually unlock a lot of doors. And for my work, I've been partnering with education department in Gauteng, with the Chief Director Zanele, who has actually approached me and said, because I know we've been working together for too long, to come and also empower teachers, because as much as we want to empower learners, we also forget to empower teachers. These are the custodians of these learners, and these are the ones that, even though we celebrate results, we normally don't celebrate teachers, but we celebrate the learners that they've attained distinctions, but we forget who was behind this distinction. So I said to her, let's empower the schools that are not performing well, but let's start with the teachers themselves. And then we've been doing the workshops, and they've been very effective and very well. And for me, currently also, I'm a PhD candidate. I'm pursuing my PhD. You know, as we have spoken about, my wife who's recently been appointed as a director in the language directorate in the University of Northwest, the Potchefstroom campus, and she's a professor, as you know. So we are, in my household, we are passionate about education.
Great. And I think my last part of the interview will focus on your books. Victor has been writing a lot of books. I think you're on the 7th or 8th book. Yes. So what's happening in that aspect, and how do you encourage other authors to come into the space?
For me, it's more of a passion. I started writing when I was in grade 10. That is over 25 years ago or so. So it needs to be passionate. You need to be passionate about it, and also be able to tell your own story, because writing is more about telling your feelings, telling your story, but also making sure that you inspire other people. So for me, currently I'll be releasing 2 books in the month of November, which is my birthday. One is The Mindset of a Winner. The other one is Captured by Success. That's the books that I'm releasing. And the reason why I'm into writing, I write mostly inspirational. Even though sometimes I do touch base on spiritual, but I'm focusing much on inspirational, because I believe that we need hope. And for especially what have happened in the recent past, you realize that the lack of education contributes to a lot of things. Because if you have got a certain level of understanding, you're not going to do certain things that will leave you tomorrow to come and experience the same challenge, which was your own doing. So I'm one person who believes in hope. We need hope as a country. We need hope in the midst of this pandemic. We need people to have hope. So for me, my writing revolves around giving people hope.
Wow, nice. I think we have come to the end of the interview. I don't know if Victor has some of the something that he wants to say to the viewers.
No, for me, in part, in short, it's just to say, life it's a product of investment. If you cannot pay the price, you won't see the promise. Simple as that.
Nice. Visible Change TV viewers, thank you very much for continuous support, and subscription is growing. Thank you. Continue to subscribe, and also encourage your friends and families to subscribe. I think you can see by this interview that we are really giving you information, ideas that can really affect or have an impact in your life, positive impact, and you can grow your business, you can grow your career, you can grow your life. So thank you very much, Victor, for your time and effort.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.